So, for my screening of 50 Shades Darker, they actually gave me The Mask. How beautiful is that? Except it had the Anastasia Steele eyes, but I poked them out because they were looking into my soul. Since I have The Mask, I'm gonna wear this because I already feel dirty reviewing this movie as it is, so here goes nothing. Hey everybody, this is 22 Tiger Dude here, and I'm here to review 50 Shades Darker. Yay! So 50 Shades Darker is now directed by James Foley. The film, of course, stars Jamie Dornan, Dakota Johnson. You also have Kim Basinger. And the film continues off where the first movie ended, where Christian Grey and Anastasia Steele split up. But then immediately Anastasia Steele gets back with Christian Grey when Christian Grey gets her back. And so we just see the relationship blossom and stuff goes on along the way. So if you guys saw my 50 Shades of Grey review a couple years ago, you know that I hated 50 Shades of Grey. That was one of the worst movies of 2015. That was so god-awful. And so because of that, you can imagine how much I was not looking forward to 50 Shades Darker. Now, I wasn't going into this with the whole, I want to hate this movie because I hated the first. No, I always go into a film with an open mind. Granted, yes, it may be hard, this film being one of them, but I want to go in hoping maybe I'll get something out of this film. I was hoping maybe if this film's not good, maybe it could be at least okay this time, more decent, I don't know. I just wanted something because I don't want to come off as that person that hates these movies just for the sake of hating them, because that's not me at all. But unfortunately, even with me going in open-minded, my thoughts on 50 Shades Darker is this film is terrible. It's just as bad as the first film, maybe even slightly more dumb this time around. I was very mad, honestly, watching 50 Shades Darker. In fact, hello poster, look at this poster, look at it. You see Christian Grey? It's Anastasia Steele, they're in love, isn't that wonderful? Isn't love so beautiful? You know what? I got another poster, actually. Okay, seriously. What the hell is up with these movies? I know they're fan fiction off of Twilight, but come on. Try. Now, I can't blame the filmmakers because they are actually doing these movies based off of the books. You know, they're basing these off of the source material. But at the same time, if you're going to adapt something from a book, try to do something to make it better, and 50 Shades Darker doesn't make it any better. This film lacks the one thing a film should at least have, is common sense. This film lacks any common sense whatsoever. This film is entirely illogical. First of all, at the end of 50 Shades of Grey, Anastasia Steele, she didn't want to be with Christian anymore because of the whole BDSM thing, him taking it too far, even though she's being a fucking hypocrite and just doing whatever Christian Grey wants. And then like 5 minutes into this movie, she's already back together with Christian. So okay, so where the film ended, you thought there was gonna maybe be some build up to it? No, she's already back with him. And this film is nothing but the same old shit. It's just them going on the date or arguing, and of course, fucking. And then once in a while, something ludicrous will freaking happen. Like there's this thing with Kim Basinger, who was freaking terrible. Kim Basinger, I don't know what's been happening to you. You really weren't good in The Nice Guys. As much as I love that movie, she really was not good in that film. She's freaking horrible in this film. And she's barely in the film too, first of all. So Kim Basinger, she's wasted here. Everyone here is pretty much wasted. Now, to be fair, Dakota Johnson is still good in this film. Anastasia still is a weak character, but Dakota Johnson is at least trying with this role. She is trying to give it her all, and that's credit to her for having to act pretty well, actually, in a very terrible script. She continues to be the bright spot with these films, and if I have to be positive for a sec, because might as well get my positives out of the way, the cinematography does look good. It doesn't look as colorful as the first film cinematography. I think the first film had a little bit better cinematography and even maybe just slightly better filmmaking, but the cinematography here is still good. And James Foley, I will say, just sometimes, his direction is good. And I will say the score for this film, like whenever it's not your random soundtrack, because whenever Christian and Anastasia still do this, a random soundtrack just happens. But like when there's just a score playing, it actually does sound pretty decent. And that's all I'm going to give for positives for this film. As for Jamie Dornan, just like in the first, he's not good. He's wooden, he's bland, he's so uninteresting. I'm sure there's films he's made where he is good. I have to check out those films, but with these 50 Shades movies, I can't blame him because of the script he's given, but he's just so terrible here. He's so boring. He's so bland. This guy has no emotion to him. At least with Dakota Johnson, even though she has a shit character, at least she's trying to provide some emotion to her character, but not really Jamie Dornan. And these two have no chemistry. Nothing has changed from the first film, which is a huge problem. There was no chemistry between them in the first film, and there's most certainly no chemistry here in 50 Shades Darker. I'm glad there's people out there that enjoy these films. That's the thing. I have no problem with people, women, men enjoying these films because film is subjective. People are allowed to enjoy different things, but these films just aren't for me. I can't get into these films because there isn't really anything they're doing to change it up. And then when they do try to change it up, it's maybe for like a couple of minutes. Like, you know that ghost girl you see in the freaking trailer? Oh yeah, she's only focused on for about a couple of minutes, and then the movie gets rid of her. We never see her again. Oh, Dakota Johnson's boss, who is a fucking psychopath. Like, seriously, this guy goes from being this calm dude to being just completely crazy. Like, seriously, Anastasia still tries to have a conversation with him about a certain something, and then he just goes from being normal to freaking creepy. And it was so obvious the minute you meet this character that he's gonna have some kind of feeling for Anastasia Steele, because of course you always need a fucking love triangle with these movies. Of course that's gonna happen. And then there's this thing with the helicopter in the trailer, and oh my god, you've probably heard it from other reviewers, but how that happened, just wow. Just wow. I could not believe how far they've fallen with that scene. And then where you lead up to the ending of the film, obviously it leads up to 50 Shades Freed. I believe that's what you title it, at least. And where they go with that ending, yeah, wow. Wow, you couldn't have a more obvious, oh, this is gonna happen in the third installment. And not only is this movie repetitive, but it's so freaking awkward. This movie tries so hard to have awkward humor, but it falls flat completely. I know the people at my screening were laughing at the awkward interactions between the characters. That's cool and all, but for me, I was not laughing, I was cringing. I'm all like, oh, can this movie please end already? Because it's so awkward, it's not funny, the movie is so forced, it's not, the sex scenes are not even interesting. Yes, Dakota Johnson, because I'm a guy, yes, it is nice to see her nude, but there's nothing really interesting about the sex scenes, really. It's not like sex scenes are really a thing I care for in movies anyways, but They don't even try to do anything to make the sex scenes at least somewhat entertaining. The movie lacks depth, the movie lacks character development, the movie lacks common sense. Like, that's the biggest thing that this movie definitely lacks, is logic for sure. And James Foley's direction, while I did say sometimes his direction was good, there's other times where his direction really falls flat. And that's credit to him trying, because he is directing such a horrible script after all. But there are times where his direction honestly is pretty bad. It is all over the place. The way the film would cut to one scene to another scene, like from Christian Grey and Anna having sex in bed, to them at a party, to them arguing, to them having some kind of random subplot. Like, this movie's a mess. This movie is so all over the place that my head was actually hurting by the time the film ended. I just couldn't believe the kind of trash I was watching. This film doesn't do anything to improve. Like I said, it's just as shitty as the first film. The film might be slightly dumber than the first as far as logic goes. Oh my god. Overall, 50 Shades Darker, I've said everything I needed to say. This is a terrible movie. This is god awful. This is not my idea of a romance movie. I do like the romance genre, but with films like these, they just aren't the romance movies that I personally am invested in. There's no chemistry between the leads. Most of the acting is so terrible. It's so wooden. It is basically the same thing with something random happening once in a while. There really is no balance with these movies. There's no flow with these movies. Oh yeah, and this is a 2-hour long film, and I was honestly very bored watching it as well. Not only was I angry watching this movie, but I was so bored. 50 Shades Darker is just as terrible as the first film. It might be slightly dumber than the first film. However, I'm going to give it the same rating, which is 1 out of 4 stars. Oh my god. And then there's 50 Shades Freed next year. Oh, God help me. So you guys, I'm going to take off this stupid mask now. So you guys, in the comments down below, let me know, what did you think about 50 Shades Darker? What did you think about 50 Shades of Grey? Are you a fan of these movies? Are you a fan of the books? And if you are, please don't be ashamed. Just remember that this is just how I feel. These movies are not for me. They really aren't. But if they're for you, I'm very happy for you. So you guys, this is 22 Tiger Dude here. And don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power. Oh man, can you tell I'm not a fan of these movies though?